to our program. In the single adult shelter, it's about 1/3 of everyone who comes to CAS is age 55 plus. And so we've been targeting that age group and developing model programming for seniors who are experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness. And with the pandemic shelter, we've been able to take some of the different support systems we put in place through our senior team at SAS, or Single Adult Shelter, and have been able to put a model program that's actually increased the success of our seniors getting into permanent housing by about 60%. So it's been a really great opportunity for us to better serve that population. We also, so this is the other end of the valley, but we have our Norton and Ramsey Social Justice Empowerment Center, which also opened during the pandemic. This is something that was planned before, and it was actually delayed a little bit due to the pandemic, but now is fully operational, and we're actually growing it to 15 partner agencies who will be working out of this hub to help provide prevention services as well as some intervention services for people at risk of homelessness in the West Valley community. And we're doing a lot of studies around this as a pilot to see how that kind of on-site collaboration and almost like a co-work situation can affect how we better serve those at risk of homelessness as agencies and work towards collaborative impact. In addition, Project Haven, we're looking to expand into a permanent shelter. So our goal is to have that happen by September or October. So more to come on that. And beyond that, we're just kind of continuing to listen to the community and continuing to build up partnerships. So kind of the silver lining to the pandemic is we've learned a lot about what it really means to help someone end their homelessness. Our housing programs, which range from one-time financial assistance through to permanent housing, have more than doubled, almost tripled. So we've been able to move people into housing much faster, and we're working on long-term case management to better support those systems and to make sure that people have permanency in addition to housing. So it's been an experience. We've, it's nonstop. We haven't closed a single day during the pandemic, and we're continuing to grow, and we know that our services are going to be needed even more than ever in the next couple years, just due to the economic fallout from the pandemic. There are a couple researchers in Cornell who have predicted that homelessness across the nation is likely to increase by about 40%. And we've already been seeing people losing their housing despite the eviction moratorium. So when certain things go away like that, we expect the need to go up significantly. So that's what we do. We're proud to serve and proud to partner, and we've been doing a lot with Town of Gilbert, and welcome the opportunity to partner with any community agencies to kind of both help both of us serve our missions better.
Thank you so much. Can you say again what that study, the study on the homelessness predictions?
So I don't remember the name of it, but because it's been a while since I looked at it. It was about 6 months ago, and my memory's not quite that good. But there are a couple of researchers at Cornell University who are looking at predictors of rises in homelessness and some of what's happening with the pandemic, and they estimated that it can rise by about 40%.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing about CAS. So next we have Katie from the Chandler Care Center with the Chandler School District. Are you? Yes, I see you. Are you ready?
Hi. Yeah, I'm actually, am I able to share my screen?
Yes.
Can I try it?
Yeah,
okay.
yes, you share screen.
Hopefully this doesn't mess anything up. It just so happens, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it? presentation now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. My
Yes.
screen's kind of a weird view happening, but I just had to do a presentation last week for our city Chandler, so I just happened to have put together a quick slideshow, so I figured I would walk through that really quickly. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak, and I just wanted to share a little bit of information about us. The Chandler Care Center is actually kind of two programs in one house, well, multiple programs, but we have sort of two sides to it. We are a program of Chandler Unified School District and have been since 1995. And the mission of the Care Center as a whole is to promote student school readiness, attendance, and academic success by providing medical treatment, social services, parent education programs, and referrals. We also have a nonprofit component, which is our children's medical and dental clinic. And that has a separate mission that our board actually just finalized, which is to improving health, equity, and educational outcomes by providing children no-cost medical and dental care. So a little bit of information about who we primarily serve. The Care Center started in 1995, as I mentioned, and it was created by the Chandler Unified School District primarily to address needs we saw in our low-income areas in Chandler. A lot of high absenteeism and kids struggling in school because of things like not having access to food and not having the correct uniform to wear to school and not having their immunizations updated and having medical issues that they couldn't have treated because their families were uninsured and they maybe couldn't afford to see a doctor. And so over the years it has developed and grown, and we've developed quite a few partnerships that we'll highlight. We opened our building that you see in that picture. Well, that's obviously an artist rendition of it, but in 2010, right in downtown Chandler, and we continue to primarily serve kids who live in the city of Chandler or attend a Chandler Unified School District school, which those do cross over into a couple of other cities, as well as their families. We do have a couple programs that expand obviously beyond that also, so I'll talk a little bit about that. See if I can get this to work. Hopefully it's forwarding for you. So one of our programs, I was trying to show this on full screen and it was doing a weird thing with my monitors. So one of the programs we have is our Family Resource Center, and that's partially funded through First Things First. Our Family Resource Center is targeted to families from pregnancy through basically the age of 5 for the child or until they go to school. And we have a couple of different programs that are components of that, parent education, support groups, and child development programming. For the kids, we do a lot of school readiness, early language and literacy programs, and a lot of integrating STEM and art and music and movement into our education with those little ones to get them ready for kindergarten. Our resources, we provide access to a resource library and a variety of other programs, both internally in our center as well as externally in our community. And then obviously referrals. A lot of what we do is giving referrals to families for their various needs that can either be served internally by our partners or externally by others in the community. We also have a food bank. Our food bank provides emergency food boxes to Chandler households. We are open 12 months a year. Even though we're part of the school district, all of our programs and services run year round. And so that includes our food bank. We do just require that somebody have a Chandler address and a current need in order to come to our food bank, and they can visit us once every 14 days for an emergency food box. We partner with United Food Bank for that, and of course have gotten a lot of donations over the past year in particular from the community, as I think people sort of recognized that hunger was going to be a emerging increased need as COVID-19 hit our community. Our children's medical and dental clinic, some nice pictures there. I don't know if you'll recognize anybody in any of them, because I don't know if Michelle or Kathleen are in these pictures, but they're some of our partners that are on this call too. So our children's medical clinic is a no-cost medical clinic. We provide care for youth, birth through 18, who are uninsured. So we do not take access patients. We ask those patients to find a doctor who accepts access. We primarily are just serving those kiddos who have no other option, nowhere else to go. We don't do any urgent care or emergency services for medical, so it's primarily preventive, chronic care, and non-emergent. We do partner with Chandler Regional to do hearing and vision screening free of cost, as well as immunizations. The immunizations are for children and adults, including the flu shot and hopefully the COVID-19 vaccine shortly. And right now it is a partnership with private practice physicians who volunteer with us, but we're working with Dignity Health to finish a long-awaited partnership and licensure, which we're really excited about, which will enable us to have some Dignity Health urgent care physicians working for us in our facility. Again, it's no cost for those kids, and we say birth through 18, but if a child is, or if a young adult is 18 or over but still enrolled in a Chandler Unified School District school, so like 19, 20-year-olds who are still finishing high school, we will continue to serve them until they graduate. Our children's dental clinic, sorry for the photo. I know some people get a little skeeved out by those kinds of things, but I think it's important to show what the dental clinic really does. Our dental clinic is a no-cost dental clinic for primarily uninsured youth, birth through 18, again, who live in Chandler or attend one of our schools. We do provide a preventive care program that's in partnership with Dignity Health, and they are here currently 2 days a week, but traditionally 3 days a week. That's a program that we had to do a lot of retooling for COVID because dental care is obviously potentially a high-risk service. And so we've slowly rolled that back up, and we're really excited to have all of our partners back on site. The preventive care program does, examinations, cleanings, x-rays, and oral health education with both the child and their parent or caregiver, which is really key to kind of ensuring that they continue to have proper dental care moving forward and take care of their teeth at home between appointments. We do restorative care for children, including fillings, basic extractions, basic root canals and crowns, those sorts of things, and also do referrals for things like orthodontia at St. Vincent de Paul in Phoenix and at AT Still in Mesa. Dignity Health does some dental health screenings for pregnant women in our clinic, as well as the little ones who haven't yet seen a dentist. And so this program is in partnership with Dignity Health, St. Vincent de Paul, and NYU Langone University and Midwestern University. And I'm sure Dignity Health will probably talk at some point about their programs and can go more into depth about their portion of this. But this is primarily who we serve in our dental clinic. We do have holiday events annually. We have our Thanksgiving Family Assistance Day, which is traditionally the Saturday before Thanksgiving, where we give all the items that a family would need in order to make a Thanksgiving meal at home. And then our December Holiday Assistance Day, where we provide new unwrapped gifts and gift cards to families for their kids ages birth through 18. I can't believe it, but we're already planning these for this year, and I think we're going to follow suit with what we did last year. We did a drive-through for both of these events instead of our traditional kind of in-person in-house event, and we actually sort of loved it. So it's a great opportunity. We get the community involved. Lots of high school students volunteer with us. It's really kind of fun to see them giving back in their community. And then we partner with, you can see down at the bottom, Chandler Fire Department helps us with our holiday event for toys. So that's kind of a fun event to do. And then other partner services I won't go too in depth in. We do have Southwest Behavioral and Health Services in-house. They're doing virtual appointments as well as some in person right now, providing mental health care and resources to children who attend our schools or live in our area. They don't have to be a CUSD student or live in Chandler. They kind of serve regionally, as well as their family members. So they do everything from individual to family counseling. We work with Maricopa WIC. They are currently, as any of you who work with WIC knows, working remotely and will hopefully be back in office in the end of summer. But the WIC office does serve anybody in Maricopa County through our facility. We do tax assistance in partnership with the City of Chandler and Mesa United Way, so that's available to anyone who can manage to get an appointment. That's been a rough one this year. If anybody else does VITA, they move to all appointments at in our locations, and those filled up really, really quick. We had a lot of people who needed help with taxes this year. We do a diaper bank with one of our community partners and provide free diapers to families. And then other programs like a car seat clinic, we do water safety with Chandler Fire. So kind of a variety of programs and services to just meet as many of the needs as possible. And then this one just cracks me up. He's not falling off, don't worry. That was my son at the Grand Canyon. But in terms of pandemic response, I think like so many other people, we had some temporary shutdowns last spring into the summer and have slowly kind of brought most of our programs back in person. Some of them are still doing virtual or kind of a hybrid of virtual and in person. It gave us the opportunity to really look closely at our policies and programs and how we assess safety and quality control, which in the end is always a good thing. I think we've mostly kind of recovered from a lot of the setbacks. We had a lot of generous donors and partners and volunteers who helped kind of keep us afloat and keep us, strong. As I mentioned in the breakout groups, I think my biggest fear as a director is what happens in the coming months and year or two, as kind of the novelty of the COVID-19 worry wears off, and ensuring that we, continue to provide support to these families, that, that we can continue to support families as their life circumstances change and as things kind of fade away, support from additional funders that we've seen, support for families that they've seen from the federal and state and local levels. As those things kind of dip back to normal levels, I'm cautiously optimistic that we can continue to provide the same level of services and get the same level of support from, funders and the community and volunteers and supporters. So I think that's the biggest fear that we see moving forward.
Thank you so much, Katie. You guys do so much work over there, so much good work for the community. I did have a question in the chat, which is Jamie wanted to know if you could make a couple of remarks about how you work with or are involved with kids with special needs.
So in terms of kids with special needs, it primarily depends on how they intersect with our services here. We are a part of the school district, but we are not the department in the school district that is geared towards, that population as their primary population of interest. So we do see kids with special needs in our medical and dental clinic, and obviously those families come through our other programs as well. We don't necessarily do any specific programming targeted at kids with special needs. It's more being understanding and adaptive as needed, and meeting sort of addressing any of their additional needs that they may have, as much as we're capable of doing in-house. So our medical providers in the past have dealt with a lot of kids who had anything from cognitive issues to physical issues that may have put them in that category. And I think it's really ensuring training for those people, those staff and volunteers, about how to most adequately address that and make sure that we're providing safe and comfortable services that are really meeting the needs of those families. But we don't do any programs that are specifically targeted for that. That would be a different department within the school district that we could reach out to if we had questions about, say we had a family coming through or a patient coming through that had needs that we needed help identifying the best way to work with that family to make sure that they had the best experience possible. We do have that connection that we can utilize, but it's not, like I said, it's not a specific category that we have programming geared to, if that makes sense.
It does. And your First Things First program, do they do referrals for the kids birth to 3 that may be exhibiting developmental delays, and that kind of thing? Referrals.
Yeah, for sure. And that would be one, I would say, there in our medical clinic and our dental clinic also, our dental staff and, partnerships, they're really fantastic about sort of identifying maybe when a family needs some more resources. And that is a part of our, that's part of what they do, is identify that, and kind of, I wouldn't say that they are in a position to necessarily diagnose anything, right, or would want to, because that's not necessarily within their scope of services. But if they identify that a child maybe needs additional resources, or that a family maybe needs additional resources, they do have the ability to provide that information. And our First Things First funded Family Resource Center staff does those kinds of screenings and referrals also. Again, they're not in a position where they're going to do any kind of diagnosis about that. It's more maybe identifying, if they're noticing something that's not quite on target with where it should be age-wise or development-wise, or they're noticing a concern that the family is relaying to us, providing those referrals to those families and following up and kind of doing the warm handoff and making those connections with the early intervention programs.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie and Ed, for those questions. And then you mentioned the Family Resource Center classes, and I believe that on your website, on the Chandler Care Center website, you have posted schedules for those calendars, right?
We do. We post the calendars for all of our services on our website, and also on our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram
Great.
pages.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we
Thank you.
all those. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Next up, we have Julie Carlberg from Hushabye Nursery. Julie, are you here? There, I see your name.
And I'm either way, I'm Tara. I'm the executive director at Hushabye, and I'll just give a little blurb about us. I can share my screen also. Is that right, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll see.
That's working.
Perfect. Okay, so we are an organization serving the families and babies that are impacted by the opioid crisis and other substances. We opened our inpatient 12-bed facility to babies in November of last year, so we've been open about 5 months. We've served 65 babies and their families so far, and what that looks like is us just meeting the needs, meeting the families where they're at. Our goal is to meet families prenatally, prepare them for what it's going to look like when their baby withdraws, prepare them for working with Department of Child Safety, trying to make that a collaboration versus a punitive relationship. Every baby that is substance exposed, even prescribed or illegal, is going to have an interaction with the Department of Child Safety, just for them to make sure that their baby's safe. And we know that that interaction is very stressful and scary. And so really preparing those families for that, we will help them get into treatment, connect them with obstetricians that are mommy recommended, so OBs that have been referred by other moms that have not been judgy. So many of us hear moms that in the hospital that mom went to one prenatal visit, she didn't care. If you ask her about that one prenatal visit, more than likely you're going to get, I wasn't treated very nice, so I didn't go back. So we're able to help them with that. We will help them work through food, housing, and transportation, connect them with many of you all. But it's not just simply a, here's the phone number, call it. We will call it for them. We will call it with them. We now have peers that are trained as doulas that will walk alongside that pregnant mommy. Our inpatient services are 12 beds where families can stay 24/7, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then our discharge services, we continue following these families, offering them support. Our families are given this green binder. The green binder on the right is one that's brand new, and the one on left is a mommy that was connected with us for about 2 months. These moms, families, just need little bit of help organizing things. And what we found is their interaction at the obstetrician, with home visitors, at the hospital, with Department of Child Safety, when they bring this green binder out, which is kind of stupid, but it works, and they're just treated with more respect and dignity, and it just works. Our outpatient services, we do have a trauma support specialist that is EMDR trained. We have car seat education, that you do the car seat class and get a free car seat. We have safe sleep class, do the safe sleep class, get a free pack and play. We do offer the evidence-based Triple P program. So we have smart recovery, many different things for families. I will tell you that they are not going to get judged. Many times we have families that are obviously on our groups that are struggling, and it's amazing to see these moms and dads just wrap around these other moms that are struggling. We do have postpartum and prenatal moms all on the same groups that we hold Monday through Friday. What our inpatient, how it's different from the neonatal intensive care unit is we have one-to-one caregivers. Families can stay 24/7, and it's just different. It's just better. And the families are so grateful. I had one mom explain to me that withdrawal was like having the worst flu and migraine times 100. And this is typically where we care for the babies in the neonatal intensive care unit. Bright lights, beeping monitors. When we all have the flu and the migraine, we do not go to a rock concert. We go home, we turn down the lights, we say, please make it all go away. So this is our environment. Quiet, dark environment, one-to-one caregivers where the families are encouraged to stay 24/7. Do they have to? No. If they're struggling, it's okay. If they are obviously struggling, we still invite them in. We do have Narcan in every drawer you can imagine, every crevice, just in case we need it. But we'd rather families cannot use on site, obviously. But I'd rather them be with us and us make sure that they're safe. We do not let them, hold their baby when we know that they're obviously struggling at the moment. But we just say, take a nap. We're here. And hopefully, maybe one of our staff will be the last person that family goes, you know what, I met Julie and I was just able to have a little hope and make it happen. To make a referral to us is very simple. You can call that number. It's quick, and we will reach out to families. They can text it. Either way, it doesn't matter. Very, very quick. We do take, we're getting contracted with all the access plans. We're not going to turn a family away. Right now, we're just up and coming. So if a family needs us, we're there.
Thank you so much, Tara. Wow, great information. I just wanted to clarify, so the referral number that you sent can be self-referral?
Absolutely. Yep. And they can just text it. They can just say, hey, I wanted information. A lot of times we will, if someone texts and they do not feel comfortable giving us their name and information, our peer supports will reach out to them, or our family coach, and just try to touch base with them. Many times it starts with a text and then a phone call, and then maybe they'll join on groups. But it's just scary, and they don't know what they're getting into, and it is uncommon that they don't want to give their name, and that's okay.
Well, it sounds like you are running a very welcoming and understanding program, so that's awesome. Your outpatient programs, are those limited to clients as well, or are those like your car seat and safety classes and stuff, are those open to anyone or limited to your clients?
Right now we've been doing anyone. I mean, right now we've had, grandparents. I think everyone that's been connected with us has, been impacted by some type of substance use. So if it's a grandparent or a kinship or something like that, we're not going to turn it down. If somebody needs a car seat and someone needs to learn about safe sleep, sure. If that gives them the information, they're all grant funded. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, next up we have Laura from Save the Family. Laura, you hit with us? I agree, Alicia. Incredible. Oh, Julie posted the Hushabye pamphlet in the chat if anybody is interested in downloading that PDF so they have it. Thank you. You can also always put your stuff on Basecamp so that it's available at any time. Laura, are you with us? Oh, I see you're talking, but I don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Let me share my screen. Good morning. My name is Laura Skotnicki, and I'm with Save the Family Foundation. And I'm excited to be here this morning. Save the Family has been around since 1989, and we were founded as a transitional housing program for homeless families with children. We actually started as a collaboration with several businesses in downtown Mesa who was noticing more and more homeless families on the streets at that time. Since that time, we have expanded to provide rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, which is for families who have a dual diagnosis and multiple episodes of homelessness. And in 1992, we established another secondary nonprofit. We were able to get families employed and working and stabilized, but there wasn't any place that could rent to them. So our second nonprofit is our Affordable Rental Movement Program. And we have 150 scattered site housing units, as well as 3 low-income housing tax credit projects. One of those is specifically for veteran families. And through the 2008 economic downturn, we also added eviction prevention, and we've also been partnering with the town of Gilbert during the pandemic for eviction prevention, as well as the city of Mesa. We have very strong partnerships with all of our East Valley cities. But one of the things that we talk about is we really are a three-tiered approach. We provide case management services for all families who come in the program. And case managers meet with families in their home on a weekly basis. During the pandemic, obviously that's changed a little bit. So we've expanded to Zoom meetings, email, text meetings, any way that we can get families moved in. Our services did not end during the pandemic. We have been moving families in throughout the whole course of the pandemic. Last year, we served 680 households through our homeless programs. And then we also have what's called our Families, Adults, Children's Empowerment Services. And through that program, we provide budgeting and financial coaching. We do parenting skills, domestic violence education. We also have an in-house mental health and substance abuse counselor who will help families with getting stabilized and connected to their access providers for long-term assistance. We also provide legal assistance through several partnerships for child support and legal assistance for separation, anything that's family-related law. And then we have our youth programming for ages 6 to 17. We provide in-house programming as well as tuition assistance to help kids with getting connected to summer camp through the Y. We also partner with Free Arts of Arizona, Not My Kid. We partner with Gabriel's Angels. And then most of our families come to us literally with the clothes on their back. So we will also provide them with household furnishings, clothing, emergency food boxes. And I would say that probably our biggest service that we've been providing throughout the pandemic is also employment connection. We have a career center that we have career support managers who work with each of our families in order to help them with resume writing, mock interviewing. We partner with Dress for Success to get them clothing to be ready for employment. And we have been very successful throughout the pandemic with getting people employed. I know I've gone kind of quickly, but I wanted to make sure to give some time in case people had questions.
That is great. Thank you so much, Laura. My one question is, how does a family best get set up with Save the Family? What's the referral process?
So we do work with coordinated entry, which is the family intake or triage session to get a family into the homeless services. But we also have been given approval from many of our East Valley partners that they can refer directly to us. So we do work with My Sister's Place, and we do work with Gilbert Public Schools, Mesa Public Schools, Family Promise, Ascend in Chandler. And so they would just reach out to me, and that if I have a vacancy, then we would get with them and get them connected to services.
Great, thank you. Did anybody have any questions for Laura? Okay, all right. So we'll move on to our last presenter, which is Yadira from Kinship Support Program. Are you here?
I am here. My name's actually Ureli. I'm subbing for Yadira, but let me go ahead and share my screen so we can.
Thank you for being here.
No problem. So are you guys able to see the screen?
We're not sharing yet.
Okay, let me see why.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. So let me pull it up. Okay, you guys are able to see it now. We're from Arizona's Children Association, and we're a kinship program. We work with both informal and formal families. Informal meaning there's no state involvement, and formal families where the state is involved. Right now we are trying to focus on the informal families because unfortunately there's a little bit of assistance for them. So we help them if they need assistance with, getting clothing, we ask them to go ahead and just like purchase the items and send us a receipt. We take their information, their demographics, and if they need help with paying for utilities, or if they even need assistance with rent, our funds are limited, so we try to like see how we can stabilize the situation that they're in. With the formal families, we do case management if they need more than one-time assistance. We also provide 2 classes, which are the kinship information session, which entitles all of the information that they're going to need when caring for a child involved with the state, and the option of learning about adoption and guardianship. Obviously, we try to let the families know that when there is state involvement, the first thing that they're looking for is reunification, but that doesn't always occur. So then the next step is thinking is adoption or guardianship, better for our family. So we just go into the differences, as well as what both was both entitled to, like the compensation and the medical as well. And then we also have a support group that it's every month on the 3rd Wednesday, and we just have families that are going through this process, and they get to share their experiences and just build networks within our agency. So if you guys know of any families that need assistance, with clothing or, getting beds, the bed assistance is unfortunately only for those that are involved with the state. So that's why we try to help out those informal families the most, because they're the ones that are like using their income and have limited resources out there.
Thanks. So am I understanding correctly in the informal families are where family members have taken guardianship or informal guardianship of maybe like a grandmother took in her granddaughter?
Mm-hmm.
The state is not involved yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
The state
Okay.
is not involved. So it can be like an aunt or an uncle or a cousin that's taking care of a relative. We do try to recommend that they do go for Title 14, where, they do achieve guardianship. It only, works if the parents are not going to contest the decision. So we, give them the application, and then they go ahead and go to the courts. And if they're low income, they can go ahead and get a waiver to assist them with paying for that stuff. And for the formal families that have DCS involvement. So we just help stabilize the situation that they're in.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Any questions for the kinship support program? No, sounds like we're good. Okay, well, that wraps up our agency spotlight. That's so great to get a little bit more information about your programs and how people can access those, what you offer, what your needs are. All of that is important sharing. And at the end of this call today, we'll select the next 5 agencies to present at our next meeting in July. And I'm going to turn it back over to, I think, Melanie for the next.
Yep, I am up, and I'm not going to take a lot of time because I want to make